Hello and welcome to Uncover. I'm glad that you're joining me on this edition, and this is going to be interesting because I have a guest who has quite a lot to share with you on issues that concern you, concern those around you. I'm talking about realities of life. My name is Modifa, and of course, joining me today is Aunty Carol, popularly known as Aunty Caro. Caro is that AKA Aunty Caro Caro. She is so many things. She's an actress. She is an entrepreneur. She's a mother. I think being a mother is one of the biggest jobs, right? She is employed. She's so many things, and she's joining me on this platform to discuss everything parenting, everything navigating through life, navigating through difficulties. I know we're going to have an amazing time. But before we do that, it's important for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is Walanda TV Studios, and also follow us on Facebook, Walanda Studios. We're so happy knowing that you've done that. So, Auntie Caro Caro, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here finally.
Yes. We've been planning. Most of the times we plan, but it's despite everything, it is possible, and we're here chatting.
Oh yeah.
I know this is going to be a fruitful conversation. You're an actress. I know many people know this face. Seeing you on TV, you do a lot of things, and let me just commend you for that. It really takes a lot to be a woman, a mother, but you're out there and putting in a lot of work.
Thank you so very much, and thank you so much to the viewers as well. I'm so super excited to be here, and I'm happy to share one or two things concerning the topic that you've raised.
Sure thing. Let's pick it from here. Just tell us about your life in general, the basics. Being a single mom. How did you get there? What really happened? What really transpired?
Okay, so I'm a single mother of three. By the grace of God, they're all boys. So the oldest is 21, and the youngest is about 12.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I became a single mother not by choice, but because of other things that happened, eventually death. So I'm a single mother by death, and by the grace of God, He's been so merciful. I have raised my kids to what they are. It hasn't been an easy road, and it's never an easy road. But when you've got God with you and you've got the strongest support system, everything is possible. I'm so grateful to my family, my mom and dad, my sisters and my brother, and other family members who've really been there for me. Believe you me, I couldn't have achieved what I have achieved had it not been for my family. They have been very supportive from the time that I lost the father of my kids. They've been there for my children. They've supported me. My youngest son actually doesn't live with me, doesn't stay with me. My elder sister, our firstborn, and the husband, I thank God for their lives because they have been amazing parents to my children. You can imagine, I've got a very crazy schedule. My day starts as early as 04, somewhere there, and it ends sometimes at midnight or 01 on the other day. So my sister sat down with me and told me to say, I'm not comfortable with the way you leave the youngest. He's a boy, he's a young boy, he needs mentorship, he needs to see a father in a home, he needs to see a mother in a home. But in this case, you're ever busy hustling for them. I've got bills to pay, their schools, rentals, and all these other things. So my sister and her husband actually helped me. They got him, and he's living in an environment where he sees a mother and he sees a father. They might not be biological parents to him, but believe you me, they've been so amazing and they've done the most, and I'm so grateful to God for their lives. And I always pray for them to say, if they remember to take care of my son, may God also remember them.
Definitely.
Yes, and the second born is in boarding school. From the time that their father died, I really didn't want anybody to get them because I felt they needed closure. They also needed time with me to go through the pain of losing a father, to also navigate through. So I had to be with them, and for a longer period of time, I never even allowed, not even any member of my family, like, sometimes they could say, no, I want to have the kids with us. I said, no, for now, leave them. Of course, once in a while, I could allow them to go to the farm to be with my sister. They would be with my mother, but I spent most of their time with them. And I think about in the 4th, 5th year, when I said, now I think
They've
And
grown.
they've grown, not necessarily that they've grown, but at least now maybe they also need to see the other side of life. So I had to take my second son into boarding, but I remained with my eldest because most of the things that I do it with my children. I have taught them how to cook because there are times when I'm called to cook for a function. I used to get them along. I used to teach them what to cook, how to make samosas. There was a time that we literally survived on samosas. I could wake up 02, I wake them up. We make samosas up to about 05. I pray with them. I release them, they go back, they start going to school. I go now into the field delivering those samosas. I come back, I would have come back with bread, I would have come back with food. I cook. By the time they're back to school, would eat as a family just like that. So basically, I had to also stay with them, not necessarily that I didn't want other people to be with them, but I also felt I needed now to teach them survival skills because when their father died, I was literally left at zero. So you can imagine where you are left at nothing. You've been left with nothing.
Yes.
So now how do I survive? Those were young kids because their father died in 2016 and this is 2025.
Yeah.
So from
Yes.
2016 being a single mother without a stable income because the job that I have now, I've just had it like for the past 2 years, 3 years. So before then, I had to survive. I had to make sure that their rentals are paid, their schools, and I didn't want them to go to government school, so I made sure that I left them in private schools. But how was I going to pay? How was I going to manage? So now we needed to maximize.
Yeah.
So I most of all of them have been on TV. They've done adverts. They've done films. So basically, we've been making money together with my children. Whatever it is that we've managed to do, I have done it with them, and I'm so proud of my children because they are children that would adapt to any situation. You take them to the farm, they would manage for the whole month during holiday. After that, they'll be brought back. I remember my first son when he was I think he was in grade 7. There was a time that things were really bad for me. I had to order salt from Kamara. Then I would pack in small packs before he goes to school. He would go. There was a certain where I used to live. There was a certain market where farmers could come and sell their farm produce. So when they're going back, they would buy salt. They would buy these other things. So those were our targets, and I could give that salt to my son in a dish to go and sell. By the time he's coming back, would have eaten, would have had something.
Wow, wow. You know, I've seen your kids, and just for people who don't know, your son is an actor. We've seen him in Pali, and I want you to talk about that and how you just brought your kids into this industry. But before that, I just want to understand how it was like being a widow. You know, the news of your husband dying. How did you receive it? What really was happening? Because I know there's so many women that have experienced this and haven't really been able to get over it, and others might still experience it because we have a lot of widows around. You know, so how did you really receive this news, and what steps did you take from there?
Believe you me, losing a person as close as the father of my children was a very terrible moment. If I say I've healed from it, I would lie. I literally haven't healed. Equally, sometimes you feel okay. The other time you want to cry. The other time you wish maybe was around. You could have done A, B, C, D. Believe you me, it's the most devastating moments. Not even just for me, but even for the children. There were times when my children, you just wake up, they are crying. Nobody wants to eat. Nobody wants to talk because they miss their father. There are times when they go to school, they see their friends are celebrating their birthdays. Their father comes to school, brings them gifts. Then they'll come to me and ask, "Mommy, what over?" So there are all those things, and you really need to be strong for you to overcome. Coming to your question, literally, I nursed my husband for a longer period of time. So you can never get used to death. I never saw it coming. Of course, he ailed for a long time because he had cancer, he had these other ailments. But I never saw it coming because I had all the hope. He was progressing well, and I could talk from time to time. I used to talk to his doctors, and I felt the time that he died, to me, I felt he was healing. So, yes, of course, he was an extraordinary person. My husband was an artist. We met in the arts. So even during the last part of his life, even in pain, he used to make doctors laugh. He used to make everyone around him laugh. And his death is something that when I look back, I just said, wow, how do other people die like this? Because he started talking about his death, I think 6, 7, 8 months before he died. So he started telling me to say, I'm not going to pull through. believe you me, I know you are trying your best, the doctors are trying their best, but I don't think I'm going to pull through. So, we had moments where he could just encourage me. I know I'm going, I know, you know, you're not going to you're not going to have it an easy way raising these children. And believe you me, if you're going to sit there and wait for people to come and help you, I don't think people come and help you. He mentioned a lot. He spoke about his family, he spoke about families, he spoke about friends. And even the day he died, he told me, he said, today, let me borrow from the term that he used because he was from Northern. So he used to joke with me by virtue of me being from Eastern and him being from the other side. So we are traditional cousins, but literally he was a very jovial person. And he told me, he says, Mami, lelo takawe. So I said, what do you mean? He says, nangu chibe lelo, nde alisa kumpokelela. So, because he used to talk about his death, I thought it was one of those days. Of course, the previous days he was so much in pain, but the day that he died, he was so peaceful. And I remember in the morning, my youngest son, because my son was, I think, in grade 5, when the father died, he came to the hospital, quite young, but he insisted, he said, Mommy, I've come, I want to see Dad. I'm going to church, but before I go to church, because you used to have church programs where Friday, Saturday, you'd go to church, then they would come back after Sunday. Yeah, so on that day, he came to the hospital in the morning, and when he came, the father called him, and they sat. For a long period of time, my husband started telling my son, no, be strong for your mom. Please, the mistakes that I've made in life, please never do this. It was a father-son talk, but very deep. And it was also a reflection. It's also beneficial to my son because now we're able to relate. And he tells me, I remember Daddy told me not to do this and told me to look after your mom. And I'm happy that he did that, as painful as it was. But he had a very deep conversation with him. He prayed with him. Then he released him, and that's how my son left to go to church. So when he left, it was very peaceful. We sat a few minutes to his death. He sang with me. There's a neighbor who came to see him. He sang with me. Immediately he prayed and said amen. He closed his eyes for God.
Just like that?
Yeah, so when I was okay, because immediately he just sighed, then he looked at me and he just closed his eyes. So I thought maybe it was one of those times, but I realized to say he wasn't breathing. So I quickly called for the nurse quickly called for the doctor, and when the doctor came, just looked at him, do a little bit of vital, then I just saw them covering his head, and I knew that something was wrong. I remember, I thank God for the life of my pastor, Apostle Holland Mlinga from Treasures of God Ministries in Shimabala. He was very helpful in the time that he was sick, through to his death, even up to now. I don't know how it could have been had it not been for the love that he showed me with my children. I'm so grateful to him, his family, his wife, and everyone around the ministry, because these are the people that showed me love. These are the people that he faithfully stood with me. And the spiritual aspect, both to me, the after-death effects, the pain that I've gone through, even there's so many issues that I've gone through as a single mother. He has always given me a shoulder to lean on, and he's always encouraged. I remember some other time he had even started paying for my children's school fees. And such a time when I felt I was making a little bit and I felt the stress was too much on him. He's not just a pastor, he's also a family man. He's got his wife, his children, and he's got other family members who look up to him. So within my spirit, I just felt it's too much of a load. Let me see how far it will go. If I'll fail, I'll still go back to say, since you had said that you want to help, God has spoken to him to help. The way my husband died, I don't want to take much of the time, but I saw the hand of God, because the way things happened, believe you me, he's in a better place, and that I know.
And that's what I was going to say, that this man is, you're singing praises.
Yes.
Any person.
And nobody
he
was very peaceful that day. He didn't want to talk. For some reasons, I saw him avoiding having conversations with me because the voice had literally gone. But he was speaking like that, and his son immediately started singing. He sang with his voice on top of his voice. So I was looking at him and I was saying, voice he say, he just kept on doing this to me. Immediately finished singing with my neighbor who had come to visit him in the hospital. He prayed amen, and that amen was for God.
It was very peaceful.
Yeah, so I'm so grateful that God enabled me, enabled us to be with him in the last phase of his life. It wasn't an easy one because he was literally in pain all the time, so we depended on getting drugs to keep him away from pain, but there was a time that the pain was beyond. And watching somebody in so much pain and you literally can't do anything, I would cry to God, I would pray, I would encourage him, I could hold his hand, and I just assure him to say, I know you're going through this pain, and believe you me, as painful as it is, I'm still with you, and I'm going to walk through with you till God says whatever it is that you'd want to say. Because I reached a point where I felt it was all about God and not anybody else. Because I remember 5 months before he died, the team of doctors that was attending to him came to me and told me to say, we have tried all we can, but we think where we are now, we leave everything to God. So you can imagine you being the caregiver, also being the mother and the father at home, because I had small children. I needed to make sure that even if I'm nursing him, the children have eaten, the children have gone to school, and all those things. Now having to have this news, how do I break it? How do I even tell the children? How do I even tell the people that were helping me? Like I've told you, my mother and my father, my sisters, my brother, my aunties, those were people that faithfully stood with me. And at some point I remember I just said, Mommy, this is what the doctors have told me. And they told me to say, there's nothing that they can do. What do I do? My mom said, there's nothing that God fails. So let's hang him there. And we really hung him there until about 5+ months when he passed on.
You've talked so passionately about your side. I want to know about your husband's side. Was there support? Were they supporting the children, and how did they receive that?
If I say they supported the children, I would lie. I'll be very honest with you. From the time that my late husband died, I've literally haven't received any support. Apart from my late mother-in-law, the mother to my late father of my children, had an elder sister, mom. She's in Kabwe. So from time to time, she would call me, and I think she's been very consistent in terms of maybe a month, 2, she would call me to ask how the children are. She would tell me, I wish I had the capacity to help. I feel for you. I feel the load is too much on you. And I pray for you. Then I remember, I think on 2 occasions, she sent money, says, can you buy bread for the children? I'm so grateful to her for the effort that she's made. But the rest of the family members, I would lie. I haven't received any support. Once in a while, here and there, we talk. But in terms of finances, in terms of children's welfare, I've literally received nothing. But they still remain the family of my children. I respect them. And now that they've grown, I tell them, this one is this one, these are your relatives, these are your father's relatives. And I'll be very happy to see them reuniting with their father's side.
It's something that people always talk about, the father's side, and it's interesting to hear how this is really real, that many children don't have that good relationship with their relatives from their father's side, and in your case it's even worse. Now let's move to the life of a single parent. I know people become single mothers in different ways. In your case, it was an issue where your husband died. Others, a failed relationship, and somebody becomes a single mom, and so much more. There's a lot. Others, it's out of divorce. You're together and suddenly. So usually there's a lot of bitterness that happens, and a lot of single mothers. I see this so frequently on social media. Single mothers are constantly attacked, and because children grow in that environment of a single mom, they say single mothers are very bitter human beings, they're very pained human beings. The stress of having to raise a child on your own, it affects you, and to an extent you might vent it on the children or to the environment or different people around you. How do you receive this information? Do you really feel that single mothers, irrespective of how they became single mothers, are bitter women?
If I say no, I would lie. If I say yes, I would lie. So it's a no and yes. I think let me go into a bit of details just to quantify why I said yes and why I said no. So in whichever circumstances one becomes a single mother, believe you me, it's painful. Losing a spouse, losing a father of your children, whether you are married or not, is painful. Becoming a single parent because somebody didn't want to take responsibility is also painful. Becoming a single parent by choice, what are those choices? Definitely, it's not a good choice because a child grows grows healthy, grows well in a home that has got a mother and a father. Not necessarily in a home, but in an environment, because there are those, like you say, that are single by choice. So if you say I'm single by choice, are you giving access to that to the father of your children to have to see the children? So believe you me, if they say we are bitter, yes. If they say we are not bitter, yes.
Okay.
So it just depends to how you take your pain. Let's take for instance me. Of course, it was painful. I had lost the father of my children. The people that were around me, including his family, knew that there was literally nothing left for me to fall back on. You understand? I was living in a rented house. My kids were in private schools. Like I told you, my children have been in private schools, and I felt it was much okay for me to be there, for them to be there than to be in government school. So it's a choice that I made. But that choice came with a cost, because private schools are costs. You understand? So now that, I think, somehow motivated me to work hard, to push hard, because I knew that I had duties to pay. But of course, I saw my sister, the husband, coming through for me here and there. My young brother, I remember there was a time my young brother was in hospital for a year. He had an accident, but he could send money every time for my second son to buy books. So that's how supportive my family has been. And like I've said, and I'll keep on mentioning, not to brag, but to thank God that they were able. It's not everyone that would literally leave their problems to come through for someone. It takes the grace of God, and it takes somebody with a heart. So, of course, there are moments when I could feel pain. There are times when I wish I could turn the hand of time. Why am I going through this? I mean, there were people, of course, that I expected to help me. I expected them to help me. Then they were not helping. So I became bitter. I'm suffering here. I mean, you don't see me. You know, we are human beings. There are times when we would lament. There are even times when we sin against God by undermining God, thinking that maybe God is not interested in my case, or maybe God is not seeing what I'm going through. So there was a moment, of course, that I was so bitter with everything around me, with the wrong choices that I made, with the mistakes that I made. I thought maybe if I didn't do this, I couldn't have been in this situation. Maybe if there are all those maybe. But again, it still comes back to me. Going through pain is inevitable. Every human being, regardless, goes through one pain or the other. But how you manage yourself in that pain, how you carry yourself in that pain. Believe you me, if I'm to share in details what I went through, even the people that made me go through that pain, I wouldn't love them to go through that pain. Even the worst enemy that would say, Caro is my enemy, I hate her, I would never love them to go through what I went through, because it was painful. There were times when I even became suicidal. I remember there was a time that I bought medicine to end my life and end the lives of my 3 children.
Really?
So no wonder I'm saying, if I'm to go into details, believe you me, it would take 2 days here just for me talking about what I went through. And like, really if I say that I'm so grateful to the life of Apostle Holland Mling, I know what I'm talking about, because that is a man that really nourished my spirit, my soul. In my brokenness, he taught me the word of God. In my brokenness, no matter how much anger, I remember sometimes I could call him in the middle of the night, crying, fuming. He could just say, my daughter, calm down. Weeping may endure for a night, joy will come in the morning. These Egyptians you saw, you'll never see them again.
You know, you've just answered my question. I was really going to that. I really wanted to find out, how you went through that healing process. You said you were angry at some point, you were bitter, you needed help. And are you now putting it out there that it is only God that heals?
Definitely. There are no ways about it. Sorry. There are times when even just somebody talking irritates you because you are bitter, you're upset. There are times when people are telling me, and I'm like, does this one know what I'm going through? Does this one really know what he or she is talking about? But like I've told you, God took me at a space where it was just all about him, and I had to let go. I had to start asking for forgiveness for the mistakes that I made, for people that I could have offended, because if I say people hurt me, I also did something wrong. I'm not perfect myself. So I reached to a space, God took me to a space where I just felt I needed to let go, I needed to forgive, so that I can also be forgiven. You believe you me, the person who harbors hatred carries a very big baggage unlike the one who has decided to forgive. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of time. I remember my pastor telling me to say, where you even laugh about what you went through. I never knew that it would come so early, but I'm grateful that it came. Of course, like he had said, the Egyptians that I saw, I don't see them anymore.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful to
That's a
God for
testimony.
enabling me.
Yeah. Okay, so time is just never our best friend. But even as we're closing, just briefly, we saw your son on the video Try Again by your maps.
Oh yeah, that's
you were
my last
also in
time.
that video. And, you know, listening to your story now, I'm just thinking about that Try Again and how much it got, you know, single mothers to feel a certain way. You know, how were you inspired by that? Really, was it something that you thought, oh, I really want to do this, you know?
So basically, Try Again. Of course, I have a background with Yomaps and the wife. Those are like my own children. They've also been part of my life, and I'm so grateful to them. So initially, of course, we used to talk. So he told me, Aunty Carol, kuli chinyimbo cha nina chosa nchikali. So of course we used to have conversations, and most of the times I would listen to their songs, some of their songs even before they came out. So he told me there was this song. Actually, it's the wife who suggested to say Auntie Carol should be in that video together with Joshua. So they just called me and say, Auntie Carol, there's a song that we did, and you and your son should feature. Some of the shots, most of the shots where me and my son are there were shot in my house. Yeah, so
where the boy was singing.
yes, that's my house, and just like that. So actually, Try Again talks about Auntie Carol. It was very emotional when I sat to watch the video, to hear the song itself. It was an emotional moment for me because it was like literally I was telling my story. People that are closer to me or people that know about where I've come from, some of them started calling me like, Auntie Carol, we saw you. We are happy that now you are talking. I said, no, that's not my song. I'm just in that video. My assignment is just being in that video and just giving life to the whole lot of it. But you know, like I've said, God has been supreme in my life. And sometimes God will bring you closer to the people that are going to make you, what term can I use? To make you come the best of you in a godly way. So for me, I think that song is prophetic. It speaks to me even up to now. Like I've told you, when my late husband died, I needed to be with my children because now things have changed. We are living in a world where our children learn a lot from the internet. Before I even tell my son about puberty, he would have already learned about it. He would have even seen advanced things. So I had to be with my children so that I teach them myself the word of God, how to navigate through life, how to live as human beings, being respectful, fear of God, and so on and so forth. So, like I've told you, I work with my children. The money that was realized from that Try Again video, I remember we sat because my children have done a lot of advice. My children have done a lot of, like you said, my son played Chulasan in Pali. When they do these projects, it's not like I impose. Of course, I've got an upper hand on how we are going to use the money that is realized, but I would sit with them to tell them, this is the money, what do we do? They would even guide, no, mommy, take a bit to church. No, mommy, help Ambuya. Then the rest, there are times when literally my children have paid rentals. There are times that my children have paid school fees for themselves. So despite my family, my pastor, my friends, I've got a nation. I can't personalize them, but I had friends from the theater, from the entertainment industry who stood with me, who really helped me to be where I am. Others gave me projects, others gave me something to do, others gave my children projects, and that is the money that helped me to take care of my bills and so on and so forth. The time that I was getting a job, I was already a little bit rooted, and to some extent I was surviving in the industry. I used to get projects that would make me manage to pay the rentals and do these other things. But again, now God blessed me with a job. I have a full-time job. Despite me being a matron, despite me being an MC, despite me doing these films, I also have a full-time job, and I'm so grateful to my boss. He even understands, because the time that I was starting, I told him, I said, besides this job that you want to give me. I am this.
Yeah.
Well, how do we harmonize? So he says, no, when you are doing that, I'll be giving you a bit of time. But it's not easy because, like I've told you, my day starts as early as 03, 04. Wake up, we pray with my children, bath. This one is going this side. I come for work. I need to make sure things are in place. If I've got a shoot, I need to make sure that somebody's job is well taken care of. That is a job that gives me a salary every month. Whether I have a project or not, the job that I have, managing that business for my boss, also gives me a stable income. So I need to make sure that I leave everything in place and everything is in place. I'm so grateful to my children. They've been so amazing. Believe you me, I couldn't have done it alone. They have also played a very important part in terms of even healing. They heal me to some extent. When I look at them, I have every reason to wake up in the morning and push so hard. If I'm to tell you some of the crazy businesses that you've done, you'll be shocked. I've made dondos, I've made samosas. Woodlands, there's a place called Border View. I used to supply that place with samosas for 8 months thereabout. We just survived on samosas. You can imagine when I pay my rentals, I take my kids to school and do all these other things. Projects would come here and there. So, believe you me, every single mother, regardless, should survive. And I pray that no single mother should go in a bar to dance, to look for men so that she can survive. We can survive because God has given us the ability to create wealth.
And this, I don't know, if this doesn't encourage anybody out there, then I don't know what will. No excuses or say, oh, I'm a single mother. Look at this story. This is very powerful. Somebody has to work every time and they manage to fend for their children, even create a career for your children, which is really, really not easy. We need to commend that. So I think this is really a great encouragement to every woman, a single mother out there. You don't just sit down and say, I don't know what's next from here. Let me just ask for my family's, my husband's family, my relatives, somebody gather money for me. Really an inspiration. Hope we have a part 2, but this is where we end this edition of Uncover. I hope you've been blessed. I hope you've been inspired. Feel free to share your thoughts on the comment section. Just share your thoughts and also share this particular episode with as many people as possible. Single mothers that you feel can be encouraged by this, feel free to just call them, mention them so that they can get to be a part of this program in every way possible. This has been Uncover. My name is Modifa. Do look out for the next episode. For now, it is bye-bye.